Yo, what is up, YouTubers? This is the lovely Miss Layla. Some of you who know who I am. And today we're playing, what I'm redoing is revisiting back to Dark Souls 3, a non-casual game like Warframe. Anyways, I'm bringing it up because I figured I'd dredge up Dark Souls 3. I came to realization last night that Warframe is more for casual gamers. And by what I mean by that is, you know, I was doing a Eidolon hunt, and I came across, you know, a couple of salty and toxic players. I'm not saying all, I'm not saying all gamers on Warframe are toxic. Just a select few that kind of ruins the taste in anybody's mouth, and it makes it even worse for people who begin, you know, in that whole thing. So the truth of the matter is, I'm actually doing a non-casual game, just waiting here to be summoned. Only because it's the only thing I can do right now at the moment. As you can tell, yes, I'm at Fillmore's Rest. Trying to like wake up a little bit in the process. But, you know, I figured dredge up old Dark Souls 3, like I said from the beginning of the video. I've been playing Warframe way too much, and I need to break, you know, from the casualness and get back into the actual hardcore game, which makes Warframe look like it's a church mouse. I mean, like, well, maybe a hamster. Anyways, I know there's some people out there who play Warframe. I'm sorry, I'm gonna put this out there on Twitter, but there's some people who might get pissy with the fact that me being truthful about Warframe being casual, and it really is. It's for casual people. But you get tired of the same old BS grind. All Warframe is it's grind. You get boring, and it becomes more and more like kind of like you went to a very bad, you know, like a good vacation trip. But if you keep going to the same vacation trip over and over again, it gets really completely utter boring. And it's pretty much doing the same thing, even if you do different sites from different locations. So right now we're just gonna you know, just hang tight a little bit until I'm summoned. Fighting Slave Knight Gale. I would do Dark Eater Midir, however, I don't really like doing Dark Eater Midir. I usually like doing Slave Knight Gale because he's a little bit more fun. He has more of a somewhat, well, between Dark Eater Midir and Slave Knight Gale, they both give a good challenge. But Dark Eater Midir, you know, he's just a bonus boss. And if you beat him, you get the katana, the free katana. So anyways, that's where my input is, you know, just trying to take a break from Warframe, because I went on today, you know, I had some breakfast, you know, just sat and said this, got bored, and realized that some of the missions become very tedious. They become the same. No new nothing. I mean, you got the Stalker Acolytes that you can do on Warframe. Then again, the Stalkers have, you know, in my last video last night, it proved a point. Soloing a Stalker was the easiest thing. I know some people don't really do it very well. They freaking get themselves killed. And, you know, after realizing just, like, pummeling the Stalker to, like, nothing, I realized how I got bored with Warframe. And I go on Warframe this morning, and it just didn't feel right. So I'm pretty much at that point, the pinnacle of my time, where, And I figured pull out Dark Souls 3, give myself a bit more of a challenge, but I know for a fact that even doing so, I'm going to see where I go with this. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen. I mean, I'm waiting for a new video game to come out, which I'm pre-ordering. If you decide to get Earth and Fall, be warned that Earth and Fall is okay-ish. I mean, I actually bought the copy, but to me it's not something I would really recommend to anybody who plays it, or who is thinking about playing it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to replace my summon sign. Sometimes it's harder for people to really see it in certain areas. So I'm just going to rest here at the bonfire real quick. You know, it's a lovely Monday morning, and I'm still trying to wake up. Anyways, as you can tell, I have my Pyromancer. My oldest character in Dark Souls 3. Between my oldest characters in Dark Souls 3 and another one, but in Dark Souls 2. So I'm at that point in my life where, you know, certain games that were challenging become less of a challenge. They get boring, like Warframe. But I think the makers of DE, you know, they did go with Fortuna, don't get me wrong. I actually liked Fortuna. But, you know, for me, when I hang around Sedis, just means that, you know, I'm freaking pretty much bored. And I was hoping that at some point, if DE can come up with better missions or something for better standing for Sedis. I mean, you don't have to change Fortuna, because Fortuna is still going to have the same missions. But I think there should be a thing where they should have something. I mean, the Stalker Acolytes, don't get me wrong, they're okay-ish. I mean, if you really want to fight more Stalkers, it's to you. But I don't feel that I need to right now at this God-given point. And in another video I did, if you've not noticed, one of the videos I did for about 15 minutes, which I want to bring up because I want to bring this particular video up really quick. The video I did was actually a speech of John F. Kennedy back in 1963 during his inauguration. And I took my Warframe video, what America was like, you know, before we had all the crooked politicians in office. And I want to put out here, you know, and it kind of goes back to this whole thing with Warframe, but you're going to have some people who are just complete douchebags who really just don't appreciate other people's help, or they think that they're better than everybody. And this goes to anybody who plays Warframe. I mean, there's some people who think they're better than others, and there's people that, you know, are still doing what they need to do day to day. You know, farming, grinding, whatever the case may be. Learning new mastery ranks and stuff like that. And what I see a lot more in Sedis, which I get more of a different feel of Sedis in Warframe versus Dark Souls, is that the majority of people who land on Sedis are just so bitter about, you know, this is kind of like the reason why new people play for about maybe, a couple days or a couple hours and they quit because some salty gamer is just pretty much going to ruin it for everybody else. So, without that being said, and I believe that, you know, if you're, to anybody who's actually playing Warframe, you know, those who are new especially, if anybody, you know, gets to the point of being salty, or they start acting, if they start, like, hazing you or any way, shape, or form, you can always ignore them. I mean, when you kind of report them, it goes back onto your account, so it's kind of like you have to report to, you know, if you're going to report people, just got to make sure you do it responsibly and not to get anywhere near, you know, being a toxic player, especially on Warframe. I mean, Dark Souls, kind of like the Dark Souls, I mean, there's not a lot of people who play, who actually play, but they don't have the microphone to actually shout, you know, their saltiness or whatever. And being in that type of predicament, and being a, you know, long time Dark Souls veteran, usually it's different, you know, like to somebody who plays an actual gamer's game, somebody who plays a gamer's game, which is like Dark Souls, for example. This is not noob friendly, by the way. If you play this, if you're somebody who plays Warframe and you try playing this at the very beginning, chances are you will not get far in it, because the tutorial boss will make sure anybody who's new or anybody who's a casual player will get their asses handed to them. What I mean by that, there's some people who think, oh no, Gundyr is Ludwig's Gundyr is such, you know, he's easy, but when you fight him, that's where they weed you out from a casual gamer to an actual Dark Souls hardcore gamer. And versus Warframe, which I think the E should be really focusing on, is a better tutorial system for the new players. There's times I've seen new players go into Warframe and they quit. They quit either because of somebody who's going to ruin the fun for them, or they quit because the lack of tutorials that DE had put in the beginning. But from what I heard, according to certain sources on that topic, that they're trying to make a difficulty, kind of like a level difficulty for different play styles, and that's the rumor I heard. There's 2 new Warframes coming out, which the rumor is it's supposed to be more likely 2 female frames, supposedly. It's not 100% confirmed. This is what's been going on Twitter. You know, and you know, gotta wait and see. Who knows? Maybe there might be a better storyline to where these particular 2 frames are from. So we just have to wait and see on Warframe. But like I said, right now Warframe, it has become Warframe is more geared to casual players, people that are not really. I mean, there's some people who are kind of like, you know, praise the Mother Lotus kind of thing, where me, I'm kind of like, I just sit there and laugh. But the thing is, using my Garuda, you know, to every ability I possibly can in the, you know, in my streams. Some of you have seen my Garuda in the streams, the way I use her, and yet you got, you know, people who hate on her because apparently they don't have a concept of really how to play Warframe. We're somebody who, like me, who's played Dark Souls, Vampire, a lot of other games that, you know, some of us are good at and some of us aren't. Put in that perspective. So right now, not doing really too much, just waiting for somebody to summon me. And yes, I know, I'm still trying to wake up. It's like, who knows why. I woke up about like maybe a half hour ago or some crazy thing. And the funny thing is, you know, people who are building Warframes, you know, look, in all respect, look, I can understand people have different playing styles, but when you start making your Warframe, don't build it as a gas station version of a poor man's warframe, meaning like don't use mods that you shouldn't be using in your warframe. Where this game doesn't have the mods, which is really nice, and I actually like stuff like this, you know? But like I said, you know, Dark Souls is not for the casual. If you're a casual gamer, like I said, if you're a casual Warframe gamer, you're not going to get very far into the game. You'll probably end up rage quitting because somebody invaded your world and then spanked you around or smacked you around like a redhead stepchild. Meanwhile, you have veteran Dark Souls players who will probably just sit there and laugh at you, you know, especially if you're salty. It's just even funnier for veteran Dark Souls players who can just be like, yeah, you know, we can just talk about some of the Warframe gamers who are just going to be complete utter noobs. You know, so it's a two-way street. You know, if you're, like I said, if Warframe gamers have an issue with my opinion about what I'm saying here, don't be mad, you know, just kind of understand that you people are just casual gamers. You don't have anything that's meant to nothing. I'm sorry if I'm being in one of my vulgar moods today, or my vocal moods. It's just, I noticed it last night playing Warframe, that I've seen a lot of, closet, or I should say basement dwellers who just pick on noobs for no apparent reason. Me playing Warframe for about 100 and something days is not really considered being new. To make that more interesting, if I was a new person in Warframe, I would see about like 10 days into it, yes. But if it's over 10 days, you're not really considered new. Because at that point, you know exactly what you're doing, you know exactly what you're going up against. And by that time, you're already going to be hitting Mastery Rank 10, which is not a big deal. Then we got some big crybabies who go and you're helping them out in Eidolon hunts. Then they start bitching and complaining. You know, it's like, well, then nobody asked you to game with me if you are just that bad. I look at it this way. Anybody who calls somebody a noob, and even though you're Mastery Rank 10, or even higher, then I look at it this way. Okay, if you're calling somebody a noob, but yet you bitch and complain, and pardon my French, and I know it's going to get demonetized in my video, but if you complain about somebody being new, and you keep saying that, you're the one that's making yourself look like a noob, because first off, I don't care how good you are. It's not, what I'm trying to say is, it's not how good you are, it's what you know into a game, what you know about the mechanics of the game. When you get into certain games, you know, okay, yeah, we all start off, you know, at the beginning, you know, the bottom of the barrel, learning different things. But when you're playing it for about, you know, anywhere between 140 something days to a year, you're not really new. You know, you're not really new. You're just kind of, at that point, you're there, you know. But when you have basement dwellers who call you a noob, even if you've been there for a year or close to it, it's almost like they're the ones that still need to grow up. They're the ones who need to learn to stop acting like casual, overprivileged crybabies and accept the fact that you cannot insult somebody who has been playing for X amount of days versus somebody who's been playing for about 10 days. And when you come across a salty gamer, you know, I would have recorded it last night on YouTube to show exactly how and where I'm coming from on this, but here's the thing. For me to come out, see, last night I could have put my headset on and I would have bitched the person out 9 ways to Sunday. But I didn't. And the reason why is because with me, I really don't have a filter. I'll be perfectly honest. I mean, I get it a lot from my family, my friends, that, you know, either A, I'm too blunt to the point, or I just don't have a filter and I'll just say anything that comes out of my mouth. Now, if I'd done that, I wish I did, but I didn't. So I know my boundaries. But the thing is, you know, when you realize that you get back into an old game like this, you know, like one that's not noob friendly and one that can tear casuals apart like it's nothing, you start realizing, you know, you're the one that's the hardcore gamer. You know, anybody who plays Dark Souls, any games that aren't noob friendly, you're not a casual, you're a hardcore gamer. Like when I run my Garuda, and of course you can see it in the videos, I just use my Garuda's talons and I only carry one pistol. Now the reason why I do that is because I don't need a gun to shoot at freaking Grenier or Corpus or Infested or anything like that. I just pretty much go for the plunging kill. Like for me, I always like to heighten my challenges to a higher level. And when you get somebody who just carries a gun and gets all bitter, and plus somebody new, you know, like out of the blue, you know, that kind of reflects back to them saying that, well, wait a minute, you're not the noob. The person that just called you a noob is the noob. And by far, it's one of the things that you don't have to worry about it, because you know, definitely know for a fact the person is obviously a basement dweller who probably, besides play Warframe, another casual game, which is World of Warcraft. So you have some fat pimple, closet basement dweller who just sits there and plays Warframe and World of Warcraft, and you know, they think it's all good, you know, they think, oh yeah, this is not noob friendly, you know, this, you know, World of Warcraft and Warframe, they rock, it's not noob friendly, and I'm on here, I can pick on anybody I want. It doesn't work that way. And you know, it's the same here in Dark Souls, you know, playing a Dark Souls 3 game or Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 2. And you try to go against somebody who plays World of Warcraft or Warframe, a casual game, and realize that they get their asses handed to them, then they rage quit. Case in point, a friend of mine had told me once they had played Warframe, and this one individual got so salty and so bitter, he freaking rage quit because my friend showed him off, which was the funniest thing ever. And he says, yeah, you know, I made a person rage quit because that was somebody who may have been a basement dweller who thought he was all badass, you know, in Warframe, but in truth, they always say that the ones that are quiet, or the ones that the ones that are quiet are the ones that know more than people who can just talk shit about other people. Anyways, so that pretty much will cover up the segment, but like I said, I decided to pull an old game out between that, Monster Hunter World. So pretty much this is what the deal is here. I'm running a bit of a longer segment video into it, but in a personal honesty, this is really quick on this message. If you're, okay, to new people who are playing Warframe, okay, if somebody does give you a problem, just ignore it. Ignore the individual, block them if you have to. If it gets worse, then you can report them, but make sure you report the issue very wisely, because it can reflect back onto your account and they could ban you. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. Lots of new gamers who are playing Warframe. Keep trying hard. Just keep building up on your master rank. And, you know, just keep at the grind. You know, don't give up. Don't get discouraged, because eventually some clan will discover you and will take you in and help you a little bit more. And I believe that's pretty much what I'm going to say about it. I also think that that pretty much covers up the video. So, with that on the note, keep gaming, all you new people on Warframe. Don't become too casual. Mix it up every now and then. Push yourselves to a higher challenge. The higher, the better. And you can put some of these people who've been playing Warframe for about a couple years to shame. But just keep pushing on with other challenges. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. And check out my next video. Hopefully, it's not going to be anything too well, not as blunt as I am today. So, anyways, on that note, peace, love, and happiness. In May, your gaming experiences be fun. Until then, this is your girl who's going to say peace, love, and happiness, and check you out in the next video. Bye for now.